Indiana Jones, Indiana It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the podcast where we get to the heart of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Jerry Porter.
And today we're excited to welcome back Eric Zala, the backyard Belloc of the silver screen, the man who literally played with fire to bring us Raiders of the Lost Ark, the adaptation, and the star of the great new documentary Raiders, the greatest fan film ever made, Eric Zala. Welcome back.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me back.
All right. Awesome.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. This is fun. And today we're talking about minute 90. And minute 90 begins with some Mayapur children showing questionable table manners. And we move to Shorty yelling, "I've got to save him." And it ends with the Maharaja giving his Indy doll a nice little poke with a hat dagger.
Yeah, we were wondering yesterday, or at least I was, if all the kids were coming through Willie's boob door in her room to get out into the palace. But now we see kids as they get outside. We see kids flooding out from like all different parts of the palace. So either there is like a main entrance from the palace into the Temple of Doom, or there are a bunch of different secret passageways that they're all coming through or something.
That's true, but the ones in the dining room are actually coming through that same lip door that the Maharaja first comes out of. So he might have been coming straight to dinner from a service, like from the temple.
Oh, that's possible.
That's true. We haven't figured out how many services they have a day or what their weekly schedule is like at the Temple
It seems
of Doom.
very loose.
It's are there Vespers? I don't know. There's just like I said, the Wednesday night prayer. The Wednesday night prayer thing that goes from like 8 to 10. They kind of work out the kinks on the songs.
Yeah.
Prepare for Sunday. One thing I did notice, though, you're talking about the kids running, and this was last minute, but when all the kids are running out that yellow cave door or whatever, Pete, Shorty is in there.
Is in where?
Oh, weird.
Yeah, he's running with them. There's like Shorty. There's like a dude with a Dodgers hat running in there and wearing.
First of all, don't ever call a Giants hat a Dodgers hat, please.
Not Giants, whatever. Very
good. That's right.
To see if you're a fan of
Even I'm offended.
Giants.
In the dining room, you see Shorty.
No, not in the dining room. It was the scene where they're running right before that. Yeah, it was the last second, but yeah. Isn't that? It's really weird. They show that in '89. Like they show Shorty running with all the kids.
Oh, like getting whipped with him too.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
I think this is that scene we were talking about a couple minutes ago with Jonathan Rinsler, where we were talking about they laid down that board and the kids all escaped across the lava chasm, but Shorty wasn't able to go. He's like leading them to safety. He's kind of like a little Moses.
Shades of Oliver Twist.
Well, we also see some. We knew from the village that they stole all the children. But for the first time now, I'm seeing that there are girls running out of the palace with all the other kids and stuff. But do we see any girls in the mines?
No, I was at that exact same thought. And I was wondering if the Temple of Doom is like, you guys both had Catholic educations. Is it strictly like there's nothing co-ed about it? Like girls in one part of the temple, boys in the other.
I think that's the deal. Yeah, that's what it is.
Maybe the girls were the ones who got Willie all dressed up for her sacrifice.
Thank God.
I'm going to say conscious Spielberg choice. Somehow it's darker if you see the girls before they're freed. I think that's where I'm going to put my money.
As dark as it gets, that may have crossed the line, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of disgusting things in this movie. Obviously the heart ripping out. And minute 65 was a Punisher with Combustible Larry. And I know we already, I think, Tom, you and I dubbed that as like the most disturbing minute of the movie. We're we're watching Larry, all I could think of is just putting the mola in immolated. But I've had a change of heart here. Minute 90 is officially the most disgusting thing in the movie for me.
All right.
And that, minute 90 is just that when Pat Roach just wallops Indy right in the heart. And he it's just like violent and creepy, and like he kind of gets doubled over, and then he comes back up and he makes that sound.
He goes and he sticks his tongue out,
and like he actually
Harrison's very good
can't
at that.
believe,
He is.
just took place. He can't believe that he suffered that, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Right.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
You got a point.
Yeah. That might be the most visceral reaction he ever has to a punch in the series. Maybe
It is.
Yeah.
And there are many in the Indy canon.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Indy is suffering a cardiac arrest, but via punch. Yeah, exactly, via punch. And you wonder, what? There's a lot of ways to really mess up someone's heart in this movie. I mean, we've seen Willie. Willie's had her heart broken. Indy's gets his punched, but it's his heart stops sort of from the outside.
Yeah.
And then, interestingly enough, you can pull someone else's heart out and have it continue to beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a resilient little organ.
Well, this I think you're right to kind of point out this moment. It being kind of a horrid thing to see, but at the same time, I think this is contained within it is part of the essence of why unconsciously I think we love the Indiana Jones character and why it draws us in. Someone once said, the reason why Indy works so well as a hero is that when he's punched, it hurts. It's vulnerable. And I don't think it would have been the same had it been, say Tom Selleck or someone else in the fedora. But Harrison, as an actor, has this great range of communicating pain on screen in a way that's sympathetic. In the big fight scene in Crystal Skull between Indy and the sort of new Pat Roach, the Igor, what's his name? During the anthill sequence. And he's just pummeling 60-year-old Harrison, but Crystal Skull's a flawed film, but there's things to love. And one of the things that I think that does work well is, I kind of felt some of that kinetic energy during that sequence, and of it, Spielberg said, Harrison has a very punchable face. And the amount of scrutiny that I gave the airplane scene when doing it, extended to actually this note as well. If you'll forgive my diverting, in that scene, Pat Roach knocks Indy off the plane, and as Indy falls to the ground, failing to rescue Marion as the gasoline's spreading across the tarmac, he makes this fantastic sound of human anguish. I can't really do it, but it's just, you just feel all a helpless rage at being thwarted by Pat Roach. Like this moment here where Indy, he punches it, and Harrison has that great exhale and look of disbelief, and it's a moment in which you laugh, and yet it's like, oh my God, I can't imagine how horrid that would be. And it draws you into Harrison once again. Comes back to, I think, the essential strength of why it's just like one of the most perfect friggin' movies and characters is that these moments where you just feel for the poor guy.
Well, Eric, do you feel that you talked about Indy being a flawed character and kind of a jerk?
Yeah.
Do you think he's more of a jerk in Temple of Doom than he is in Raiders, or?
Well, when I say jerk, I'm more referring to he made mistakes like many of us do. In his case, betting his mentor's daughter Marion at age 16. The backstory, it's that bit of backstory that I'm thinking of when I say that, and part of it is the hero's got to be flawed in some way, and a rogue. And of course, by his arc by the end of Raiders is he he chooses marrying over the Ark, and so that is to say, such flaws give us the character somewhere to go. So I guess I'm thinking of that. To answer your question, is he more of a jerk in Temple of Doom than here? Let's see. Well, I guess the arc here is he's initially unsure whether to help, but he ultimately does. So he's altruistic here.
He has to think about it, though. It's a little funky that he has to think about saving all the slave kids.
Yes.
We've discussed that at length here. I mean, they're clearly an afterthought. They're kind of like a bonus.
Right. Well, fortune and glory, that's his focus, and that rallying cry, is actually, I think meant to illustrate his missed priorities at the beginning of Temple of Doom, right? So
sure.
And yeah, he says it, but the reluctant hero, in a way. But yeah, but back to the larger thing. I mean, Belloc says to Indy, I'm a shadow reflection of you. They're not all that different in terms of sort of some mercenary aspect. And you certainly see a mercenary aspect on full display here. Of course, remember, though, this is 1935, so he hasn't yet experienced that character maturity yet, that he experiences a year later.
Sure.
So at least that's how it is in my head. How about you? What would be your perspective on Indy's?
I think we sort of discovered that we think he's more of a jerk, just generally, kind of a day-to-day jerk in Temple of Doom. I think I mean the stuff that he did, the whole Marion business and all that kind of stuff. But just in his day-to-day, he's a little more. He's churlish.
Well, with Willie he is. With Willie,
yeah, with Willie he is.
Aggressively mean to her most of the time.
And gets in his own way in terms of letting pride get in the way of nocturnal activities, right? Pride, never good.
Yeah, well, he's really strange to Cheddar Lal too when he first shows up at the palace.
Yeah,
he's really kind of it's just so that we kind of filed him under more of a in this movie than Raiders. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know. I mean, what's interesting is we'll see what happens in Last Crusade with his dad around. Maybe he'll be on his best behavior. I don't know.
All people serve.
Interesting. Yeah, well, that's why the character mythology is so rich, I suppose.
Is Pat Roach really carrying a real person? I know, Eric, you mentioned this. You're like, that would be, one of the most difficult scenes to pull off is throwing Indy into the minecart scene. But I mean, I watched that a couple times. It looks like Indy's dead, which would not be a surprise after that cardiac punch.
Yeah, really.
And then he just looks like he's carrying a sack of Indy.
But it's his blood. His back is completely drenched
and then
with blood.
He's thrown in, and rewatching the clip, it's hard to imagine being thrown into that metal cart without, becoming a paraplegic. I mean, and I thought, okay, it's a dummy. And then at the very end of the shot, you see movement within the car. He's getting up. Nope, that's a person. The movie still has secrets to give up.
I just watched it again. It's horrifying.
Would you have to make like a foam minecart then to pull that off?
That
would be a tough.
Probably so.
You hear that same horrible sound when Willie faints at dinner and she falls backwards, and you hear that metal clank. You get that same metal clank when Indy's head hits the minecart. I wonder if he has a metal plate in his head too.
Yeah, I could see that.
Hey, can I? We made a big deal about Shorty's Jaws hands back in the village. That was like a direct callback to Jaws, copying Indy's hand motions. He does we get an ET right here in this minute that I just put together. The line, "I gotta save him." That's directly from ET. Elliot yells that about having to save ET.
Nice.
I wondered about that. I mean, does Indy need Short Round to save him?
He needs somebody to save him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does Indy need everybody to save him, even though you don't think? I mean, because Willie saves him, Shorty saves him, and if that's true, why did Willie originally collar Short Round?
Yeah, that's a good. I think she was just worried about Shorty, but I still say he's the hero of this movie. Like, he saves Indy more than Indy saves them.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, has she not been paying attention? I mean, this is what this is. I mean, Tom, you and your son bond over the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like Indy and Shorty bond over, rumpuses.
Right.
You know, and
they get the rumpus badges.
Yeah, fracasses. I mean, that's what they do. They bond over Pat Roach.
Yeah,
that's just what they do.
But we do get some examples though where that bonding may not be great for Shorty's future development, because he just is so violent when he says, "Drop him down, I kill you, drop him down." Like Shorty is just so violent in like what he's saying. It's so bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
Is that what he said? See, that's hilarious. He's gonna go to therapy. I kill you. I love how Pat Roach just throws Shorty up in the air in like a beautiful U shape. Like, I mean, he doesn't really throw him anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they make it look like Shorty lands like 20 feet away or whatever. But if you watch the actual toss, he like throws him up in a big U and he comes back down. And it's like something your uncle would do when you were 6.
Right. Well, it's funny because like when Shorty's like wailing on, he's like hitting him with something like a stick or something, hitting Pat Roach, and you're like, oh wait, like in the when they were all attacking Indy and whipping him and making him drink the blood of Kali and stuff, like Shorty went bananas on everybody.
Yeah.
And was actually doing some damage to people. You'd think that here he could do a little more to Pat Roach, but I don't know. He's doing what he can, I guess. And then Pat Roach, you're thinking that like that throw, he should land like 40 yards away or something. Like Pat Roach should be able to just chuck that kid.
Well, I think Pat Roach is gonna adopt Shorty.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh,
I think he's going to wind up adopting
He
him.
sees that fire in his belly, like Shorty loves to fight, and he's like, "This is a kid after my own heart."
You were always my favorite, slave kid number 379.
It's more of an avuncular throw, you know. They've been through so much by this point, you know. It's become an act of affection by now.
Yeah. Out of my way, you little scamp.
Yeah.
So he's the fracas father figure.
Oh, maybe.
Exactly. But I agree, with you, with Peter, one of you. You guys said
Agree with me.
Shorty should be doing more, and if he's free, I don't know what he'd do, but that whole place is filled with contraptions.
Yeah, there's a sledgehammer right over there on that guy's head.
Yeah, or drop a pail, or start a mine car to run over his foot. I don't know. Maybe fire. Go grab a torch and.
Yeah.
Gosh, would that work? If he burned Pat Roach, would Pat Roach like just blink and be like, "Oh my gosh, what have I been doing? I've been torching these kids. Oh my god!"
Unless Pat Roach was the one guy that just loves doing this, they didn't have to give him the blood. Like, he was
Right.
like, "Oh, I just like doing this."
Well, there's an opportunity for fan fiction here where, Shorty does free the chief guard, and create the new Zala, the Indian Zala,
Oh, yeah.
That'd be heart-stirring, right? Can you see
That would
it?
be great, yeah.
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 Oh my gosh, if Indy and Pat Roach were pals in a movie, that'd be incredible.
Hell.
Oh man. Although it'd be kind of dark when you look back and he's like, "I was the best digger in Pancot."
Oh, and then we get the Maharaja up on the thing, and he comes up with his voodoo doll, and it reads like, I don't know, like most like superhero movies have a moment where the superhero comes up against like one of the supervillains, and there's like a display of the supervillain's, superpower. It's like, it's the voodoo doll kid. He's got the voodoo doll, and he's going to go to work with that.
It's kind of comic book like.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's a creepy little kid though up there. Like he looks creepy just standing up there. Like he's silent. There's no one around him, and
Yeah.
When they show that Indy doll, all I could think of was you, Tommy. Where it's just because they show his pants. There's like a close up of his pants, and I just think about the first thing. You're like, I took him off.
Well, yeah.
I pulled him off. I mean, come on, what I did.
I don't have to make a big deal out of it. I just took his pants off.
he's got like kind of weird, nasty hair too. That voodoo doll.
It's weird the details they put on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it almost might be human hair. Like they took it from one of the flapestries.
Oh, maybe.
They've got some good doll makers standing on staff there, in the mines for making these. Molaram's little workshop, and I think this moment always did tug at me, in terms of this part being in a trailer. Is I knew plenty of casting ideas for this Maharaja kid in my homeroom, Oh.
Yeah.
What is it? You know what? He pulls out like the letter opener in his turban.
Oh, right.
And what is it? What exactly is that doing there? Does that tie?
Is it like his hat pin? Is it like hold the turban together?
Oh, maybe.
Well, it clearly ties the outfit together.
Well, I mean, does it like keep the turban
Nice.
on? But maybe not, because it doesn't fall off when he takes it
That's
out.
what I'm wondering. Is it like a pin to keep the turban on?
Well, I think there's like a jewel on it. I think that the pin is just how the jewel stays in the turban. Maybe.
I think maybe it's a thuggy thing, Always, if you're not strangling somebody, always keep your hairpin close at hand,
Yeah.
Keep something sharp handy.
It's a thuggy style holster.
Bit of trivia, and forgive me if you guys have covered this before, but like the thuggies, did you know killed over 2 million people in colonial times before the British Army came in? It was just a bit of historical trivia, but they picked some good bad guys for Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
That's some effed up stuff. Strangled travelers in their sleep.
Yeah.
They were big on that apparently.
Yeah.
Real snaky stuff.
And they did really nail the thuggy behavior in this movie, like the way they sneak up on people and the way they kill people kind of sneakily.
Yeah. Like the guy that tries to garrot Indy in his bedroom.
Yeah.
Very, very thuggy approach. But of course, they returned the Nazis in Last Crusade, upon which Spielberg commented, the Nazis are just such great bad guys, So I guess, can't beat the Nazis for that.
Yeah. You
Right.
can't defend anybody by painting the Nazis as bad guys.
Yeah.
With a broad stroke.
And you're not going to offend anybody that you don't already really kind of want to offend by having Nazis as the bad guys.
Exactly.
That's true.
Well, do we have anybody have anything else they'd like to talk about minute 90?
I bet Christy Porter does.
Oh, wait. Hang on, which is first? Yep. Wait, this just in from Professor Christy Porter.
How strange.
Minecart, most inefficient way to dispatch someone ever. Couldn't you just have stepped on his throat? Look, I think this movie's getting to all of us. It was the This is the most disgusting minute of the movie, minute 90.
It is a very James Bond kind of like, let's kill him slowly and interestingly.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. I shouldn't say the whole minute. It has second 8. That cardiac wallop is that just did it for me. Yeah, his noise.
His face though, his tongue sticks out when he does it. It's amazing.
It's horrible. He's in such shock. He's just shocked at what happened, and it's just one punch. Horrible. God, it's bad.
Oh boy. Well, one thing that is not horrible, if you've not yet seen it, is the new documentary that's out, Raiders, the greatest fan film ever made, that talks all about Eric Zala and his friends who made a shot-for-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark back when they were kids. And I highly recommend that. And Eric, you've got some other stuff you're working on that's pretty cool too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I do. So one thing that we kind of decided after ending a 65-city tour in support of the documentary's theatrical release was creating Zala Detours. It's in which we actually bring our Raiders story to schools. It's been observed that this kind of odd project that consumed our childhood, all outside a classroom, can teach kids about perseverance, collaboration, problem solving, all manner of things. And so we're forming that to bring that to schools, and kind of pass on, what we saw on the tour, which was people really excited and inspired that they figured, okay, if you guys could remake a $22 million movie on your allowance, I can finish X, whether it's a film or a short story or book, and that has meaning. So I'm as cool as video games were. I'm happy about this detour and excited to kick that off. And we haven't formally announced that yet, but I did want to share that bit of news with you guys. So we're the Raiders RV is parked in Mississippi, the same place that grew up and did Raiders and returned to as an adult and doing the airplane scene. And now, perfecting our program here. Would love it if you guys followed us on our Facebook page for Zala Detours. That's Zala Detours. Thanks for the support, guys. It's been fun being on the show.
Oh, we had a ball.
Yeah, and I love this project you're working on so much because I know this movie inspired me as a kid, and like what you guys did was also so inspiring, and I just love how you're using this to sort of inspire a new generation of kids. And we have so many people that have been on the show that have talked about the original movies inspired them to go into archaeology or to go into whatever, and it just there's so much that you can gain from this, and I love what you guys are doing. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. It's we're project-based learning is kind of a big thing right now, and this I think should provide some context that hopefully will show you how you can get access to an authentic World War II submarine if you're 14. You just keep asking and asking and asking. Anyway, but yeah, it's great to see. We feel very grateful.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. And Jerry, if people are finished being inspired there and they want to find some new inspiration, do you have any words of advice?
Oh, yes. I would encourage them to join us on the Indiana Jones Minute Listeners Crusade, which is our Facebook group. And that's really my favorite place. Yeah, just come there. Come there. And we do have T-shirts at TeePublic. Oh, yeah? And you should check those out, too. But I like the discussions and the interactions, and with some really funny topics and that sort of thing on the Listeners Crusade.
Definitely. And, yeah, we'll be talking about this minute and Eric's project there. And so definitely come check it out, and definitely come check us out again Monday for minute 91 of the Indiana Jones Minute.
We gotta Eric, you don't know, we often end the show by each of us yelling a Belloc style Jones, and since you were actually Belloc, we need to get one from you.
Yeah, we definitely got to get one.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Thanks guys. I'll see if I can channel my best Paul Freeman.
Okay.
Okay, but let's see. Is it the end of the airplane scene where he says Jones under his breath,
the soft
or is it
Jones?
the canyon scene?
It's the Canyon Jones, yeah.
It's the Canyon Jones.
Where he's had it.
Oh. All right. Okay. All right. Jones.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Wow.
That was awesome.
That was one of the best ones.
I got chills.
Yeah. That was one of the best ones.